CBS News. Congress will be holding hearings when it returns to try to find out if there really is an energy shortage. I'm Stephanie Shelton, reporting on the CBS Radio Network. The first hearings will begin next Wednesday and will be held by the House Small Business Committee. When Congress officially reconvenes on January 21st, Senator Henry Jackson's Investigations Subcommittee will resume its look at the energy shortage, and Jackson says the senators will question representatives of the 7 largest oil companies under oath about the extent of their oil stocks. Meanwhile, the Shell Oil Company followed Texaco's lead and voluntarily disclosed its oil assets. The figures showed crude oil stocks up about 3.5% from last year on January 1st. Stocks of gasoline and home heating oil were also somewhat higher than a year ago. More on the oil shortage after this.
George,
Yeah?
Premium has this terrific January white sale.
White sale?
Mm-hmm.
I thought Premium was a saltine cracker.
Oh, Premium just calls it a white sale.
Oh, I've got it. Because you eat crackers in bed.
Ho, ho, ho. Right on the pound box of Premium saltines are coupons worth a total of 45 cents.
45 cents worth of coupons?
Yes.
That's a good sale.
That's a great sale. There's a 7-cent coupon you can use to buy Escort crackers.
Yeah.
A 7-cent coupon for Chips Ahoy cookies.
Oh, I like those.
A 7-cent coupon for cinnamon treats. A 10-cent coupon for Smack Made cheese spread. I love that.
Boy.
And a 14-cent coupon on Sanka brand decaffeinated coffee.
45 cents worth of coupons.
And they're right on the Premium saltine box.
Hey, honey, you know what?
What?
The Premium January white sale must be the first white sale you can eat.
You can eat. Yes, I know, George.
Look for the Premium January white sale from Nabisco at your grocers now. Offer void where prohibited by law.
The Justice Department charged 5 more service stations with price gouging today, warning station owners that any new gimmick-type customer charges will be considered illegal price increases. In Washington, the Labor Department reported that as many as 100,000 Americans may have lost their jobs in the week of December 9th through the 15th because of the oil shortage. About half of the layoffs were service station and car dealer employees. The Agriculture Department reported on Friday that Moscow has agreed to a delay in delivery of more than 18 million bushels, that is, of American wheat until after next summer's harvest. The chairman of the American Bakers Association, Bill Meade, proclaimed himself delighted at the news. Earlier this week, he predicted that bread could soon cost $1 a loaf because of possible wheat shortages. Agriculture Secretary Earl Butt says Meade's warning is preposterous, and Roger Fleming of the American Farm Bureau Federation apparently agrees.
It represents a scare tactic on the part of one segment of American industry, namely the bakers of this country. One of the interesting things that I'd like to see asked of the bakers, if they were concerned about the rising price of wheat, why didn't they contract for their supplies with the farmers of this country during the recent marketing season, when they could have ensured that there'd be no increase in the price of the raw product going into bread?
Roger Fleming. An Argentine terrorist group claims it's been paid a record $10 million ransom by the Exxon Corporation for the release of one of its executives who was kidnapped December 6th. Ernest McCrary reports from Buenos Aires.
In a printed letter delivered to Buenos Aires newspapers, the People's Revolutionary Army says the $10 million will be paid in food, clothes, tools, and medicine for the poor. Presumably, the kidnapped manager, Victor Samuelson, will soon be released. The letter from the terrorists charges the oil company with unfairly exploiting its workers and reaffirms that violence is the only weapon to use against such imperialistic firms. This is Ernest McCrary for CBS News in Buenos Aires.
Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat met for 90 minutes on the troop disengagement issue right after Kissinger landed in Aswan, Egypt. They'll talk some more in the morning, then Kissinger will fly to Tel Aviv to tell Israeli Premier Golda Meir what he's learned. The FBI says 134 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty during 1973. More news after this.
There was a time when people thought there really was a fountain of youth, and that it was possible to turn iron into gold, the thing some people used to believe. Even today, there are people who still think all aspirin is alike, but the fact is all aspirin is not alike. Bayer tested its aspirin against every leading brand. The test showed for quality, Bayer is superior. Remember, as with all medicines, read and follow label directions carefully. When you get a headache, get Bayer, the better quality aspirin.
Take the time to listen. Take the time to care. is really listening to other people shows you care about them. Dad?
If you're too busy to listen to your children, you're too busy. A thought from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons.
The Dutch have now joined the Swedes in contending with gasoline rationing. Holland is giving its motorists 3.3 gallons of gas a week per car. One small bonus, the Dutch can use all their ration for Sunday pleasure driving if they wish, and they haven't been able to do that since November 4th. Stephanie Shelton, CBS News.
CBS for Seattle, this is KIXI. The time now, 6 minutes past 10. Mystery Theater from CBS is next. The weather outlook calls for increasing cloudiness with periods of snow beginning late tonight. Occasional snow, probably changing to rain or mixed rain and snow tomorrow afternoon and continuing through Sunday. We can expect a slight warming trend with highs tomorrow in the upper 30s, the lower 40s on Sunday. Lows tonight in the upper 20s, tomorrow night in the mid-30s. Winds will be mostly northeasterly, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Currently in downtown Seattle, a temperature of 34 degrees, wind out of the north at 3 miles per hour. The barometer is falling. It reads 29.84. At the airport, it's 31 degrees. KIXI time, now 7 minutes past 10. CBS News next on KIXI Seattle. Weather outlook calls for occasional snow, probably changing to rain or mixed snow and rain tomorrow afternoon, continuing through Sunday. Highs tomorrow in the upper 30s, lower 40s on Sunday. Lows tonight in the upper 20s. Currently in downtown Seattle, a temperature of 33 degrees. The barometer falling at 29.83. It's 11 o'clock.
CBS News. Attorney General William Saxby says the taxpayer should not have to pay any legal fees for President Nixon if he is impeached. This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS radio network. Saxby says it would not be proper for lawyers on the government payroll to represent the president in any impeachment proceeding. He says if an impeachment does come about, an independent defense and defense fund may have to be set up. Saxby says if the case ever went to the Senate for an actual trial, the Justice Department would be out of it. Senator Howard Baker of Tennessee, a member of the Watergate Committee, indicates some important legislation on election campaigns may come out of the committee's investigation. Baker put it this way.
It would be my expectation that the committee would recommend rather extensive electoral reform measures, campaign reform measures, particularly in the field of campaign financing, and a number of other things. But I would point out that one less formal result may occur. I'm persuaded that the fact of the inquiry done in public may serve as a deterrent to such conduct in the future, at least as effectively, if not more effectively, than any legislation that we may enact.
Baker also says he expects the Watergate Committee to end its hearings next month unless some new evidence comes to light. I'll have more news after this message.
Are you an unpublished author? Do you have a book-length manuscript ready or almost ready for publication? Or do you know of anyone else who is an unpublished author? If so, Vantage Press invites you to write to a leading New York publisher for a free illustrated brochure titled To the Author in Search of a Publisher. It explains how you may have your manuscript printed and published in a matter of months. Just write to GPO Box 1414, New York, New York. Whether your subject is fiction, non-fiction, poetry, or even scientific, specialized or controversial, this 52-page brochure shows you how to arrange for prompt publication. To get your copy, write to GPO Box 1414, New York, New York. That's GPO Box 1414, New York, New York. If this is your first book, you'll find this free brochure especially valuable and informative. Write to GPO Box 1414, New York, New York. GPO Box 1414, New York, New York.
Senator Henry Jackson, the chairman of the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigation, says Energy Chief William Simon and officials of 7 big oil companies will testify when the panel resumes its hearings into the energy shortage January 21st. Jackson says the panel is trying to find out if there is, in fact, a shortage of oil. About 90,000 barrels of oil were destroyed Friday when a fire started by lightning hit an oil storage facility in Port Neches, Texas. The fire destroyed 6 oil storage tanks belonging to the Mobil Oil Company. Nobody was seriously hurt. The Agriculture Department says the Soviet Union has agreed to delay taking delivery of 18.4 million bushels of wheat purchased from the U.S. Officials hope that will help avoid sharp increases in bread prices in the U.S. Bill Meade, the head of the American Bakers Association, says this is a good move.
We just need and think the American consumer needs the assurance that we will have enough wheat here, and even the possibility of a shortage doesn't cause even no temporary dramatic increase in the price of bread. And if the Russians have agreed to delay this shipment at the urging or however it came about, we think that is great. If they have been urged, I think it proves our point that there might be a possibility.
Earlier, Meade's organization drew sharp criticism for predicting bread prices could go up to $1 a loaf because of big wheat sales to Russia. Agriculture Secretary Earl Butz says the baking industry displayed a startling lack of understanding of the situation in making that prediction. More than 110 ships were stranded Friday at the mouth of the Mississippi River because of a week-long fog bank that limited visibility in some areas to 20 feet. 52 ships are said to be anchored in the middle of the river, unable to move. About 60 others are scattered in the Gulf of Mexico, waiting their turn to enter the river. Now this.
Grandma,
Bobby, go to sleep now.
I'm cold.
Well, we'll fix that. Look, this was your daddy's blanket when he was little.
It feels good.
It should. It's wool.
From sheep?
Sure. We never had any oil burners or other fancy stuff on the farm, but we had wool. Nothing warms like wool. But don't you have a wool blanket at home?
No.
Know what? I'm going to buy you your own wool blanket.
Could I have a sheep too, Grandma?
Save your money.
As America enters the first winter of the energy crisis, we would like you to know that wool can make a difference in how you live during this time. For thousands of years, nothing has warmed like wool. Its unique natural structure creates tiny air pockets, which trap your body's heat and adjust to outside temperatures. And when sheep produce wool, they don't deplete natural resources and precious fuel supplies. You can keep warm and help the energy crisis by wearing wool this winter. This message brought to you by the Wool Bureau.
The Skylab 3 astronauts are drawing close to setting a new space endurance record. Monday night, the astronauts will break the 59-day space record set by the second crew to inhabit the orbiting space laboratory. NASA officials are optimistic the mission will go the 84 days planned for it and set a record that may last for many years. This is Doug Poling, CBS News.
CBS for Seattle, this is KIXI with the time of 6 minutes past 11.
The sounds of beautiful music for beautiful Puget Sound continues on KIXI.
We did the snow.